Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. It's been a minute, but I am back, and I'm back to talk about the gas engine. So let's get into it. A lot has happened over the last few days. If you're looking at this video in the future, this is say mid November, November 14th to be exact. And you'll know that on the November the 5th, we had an election, and that election there's a new administration, and this is not to worry about who you voted for or not. That doesn't matter. But the new administration has made it very clear that they're pro energy, pro gas engine, pro, the fossil fuel. I don't like saying that, petroleum based type uh, industries, right? Whether it be natural gas, oil, or whatever. And so, what does this mean for the manufacturers? R&D, all the research that goes into planning, um, building facilities, factories, hiring, sourcing materials, parts, and pieces to build anything takes years in the making. And every 4 years, we have an election. And if you have someone in office that's pro, you know, gas engine or pro fossil fuel, and then in 4 years you have somebody else that wants to just ban it all, manufacturers are really put in a very unfair and a very odd predicament to where what does the future hold? There's a lot of uncertainty. And if you own a business, you know that uncertainty is one of the big downfalls of any business out there because you want to plan, you want to have a strategy going forward. And if every 4 years you haven't switched that up, well, it's really unpredictable. There is no shortage of videos right here on YouTube where everyone's talking about manufacturers building vehicles that people don't want. And I don't think that's accurate. I think it's more like manufacturers are building the vehicles that people have wanted for years, but suddenly now, because of inflation, because of high interest rates, and because, well, the inflation makes everything more expensive. So, groceries, utility bills, the basics in life has really taken away, along with the interest rates being higher, has put it in a position to where the average vehicle in this country is like $40,000. I think it is 40 to 50,000. The lowest vehicle I've seen is in the high 30s. Most vehicles are over 50. The average car payment now or car truck payment is in the mid to slightly upper $700 range. All of this combined is just putting everybody into a pickle. Now, what does this mean about the gas engines going forward? Well, here's what I think. This is my opinion only. I could be totally wrong, and I have been in the past, but I don't think I'm on this one. So manufacturers have this higher margin on certain vehicles, like a truck that sells well for that brand or a car, that reliable vehicle, a trim that they have that they know they can count on their customers coming back for more and more and more. Well, the margin on that is going to be slightly higher, I think, to help offset the losses in EV. Because here's the deal, our infrastructure is not ready. The technology, in my humble opinion, is not ready to make it as mainstream as it should be or could be. Um, Infrastructure, not only the national infrastructure, I mean, I think Congress voted or allocated $7.5 billion, and there's just a handful of these national charging stations built. I mean, that's a total ineffective waste of your tax dollars, and it's unsustainable. Okay. So, but look at the average house. The average house has to then you buy the vehicle, you buy the EV, and then you have to retrofit your house and add a charger at your house. Might not be the biggest deal in the world. Yes, some manufacturers may even give you some chargers, and maybe some of them pay to have them installed. I don't know. But if you're in an older home, which I think about 50% of our homes in our country is at least 40 years old, there's a good chance that the electrical service at the house is not big enough anyway. So now you might be looking at panel changes or things like that. I don't really know. It depends on where you are too. Country is a little bit different. Houses were built a lot different in different parts of our country. So just keep that in mind. But I think that these high margin vehicles that manufacturers have, that's their bread and butter. Yes, it keeps the lights on, it keeps everybody working, but it also helps to pad the losses that the manufacturers have faced in the EV. And the EV mandate comes from the high MPG or the CAFE standards, the corporate average fuel economy. So as that number goes up, there's less gas powered vehicles out there. There's also smaller displacement engines that get a lot better miles per gallon, but typically give you less horsepower and in some cases give you less reliability. So I'm saying stuff that you already know. Well, I guess the big question is, and I don't have graphs and charts and sources on this because everyone is just kind of it's their own opinion right now. I haven't seen anything that's worth sharing. What is it going to mean with the new administration coming into office, which really doesn't happen until officially January 20th, 2025? But there are already things happening right now during the transition that is starting to speed that up. One thing I thought was interesting today is consumer sentiment, or the uh, um, what the average consumer, what do they think about the future? And it has doubled in a week. People are more optimistic about the financial future already. Now, if you know anything about motivation and running a business, creating a business, doing any really thing, um, a lot of it's here. What everything that you see was once a thought in someone's head. Just like good economies, comes a lot of it comes from the spirit or the attitude that the person, the entrepreneur, the worker has. If you think that the future is dire and dark and dreary and uncertain, then you're going to keep your money. If you think the future is brighter, you're more inclined to buy that car, buy that boat, or whatever, or start that business or expand that business. So I think over the next few months, you're going to start to see a shift for more people are optimistic based on data in the last week about the future than they have been in quite a while. So, how is this going to translate to gas engines? I think the gas engines are here to stay. And I think that they just got a shot in the arm, or they got a little bit more of um, staying power, right? Because I think what will happen this time is possibly the administration, and I hope they do this. And I wish the last one would have done it, but I hope that they put something in writing so it's not just an executive order can wipe out, 4 years of manufacturers planning on, say, the next decade, because you can't turn this stuff around. It's not like making a pizza, right? It's not just a few minutes of throwing stuff together and you go. All of this takes a lot of planning. Manufacturers cannot continue to live through the uncertainty that they've been delivered by politicians. It's just that simple. No one can. Home building can't. Banking industry, which affects home building, which is one of the reasons why we have a housing shortage, is because of chaos in the new construction finance world. That's one. Regulations another. But back to automotive, this is affecting manufacturers and the money that they have to allocate toward trying to make EV mainstream and reliable and put it into everyone's house. Okay, I think 40% of the EV owners are migrating back to gas engines because of the charging issues that they have, and especially when it's really, really cold. And of course, that's worse in very cold climates. So when you add all of that up, there are a lot of people exiting that and getting back to gas engines. At the same exact time, you have an administration that is pro energy that I think will put something into law that says for long term, this is the path forward. Maybe it's 10 years, 20 years, hopefully longer. Manufacturers can then have a target. They can have they can have more certainty, right? It's not that they're having to spend billions of dollars and then in 4 years it changes again. That is unfair. And the manufacturers, look, I'm not here. I'm not picking sides, and I really don't care who you voted for. I'm just telling you what the reality is. Is there's more um, positive. There's more of a positive outlook on our economic future right now, at least based on the data that I've seen in recent polling. And I think that you're going to start to see it with manufacturers bringing stuff back. I don't know if it's true or not. I heard a rumor today that even Chrysler's considering putting a V8 back into their Chargers and Challengers. Or maybe it's just a Challenger. I don't know, and that could just be a rumor. I could be totally wrong, but it would make sense that the EV is just not doing it for their clients. And so, I'm a Mustang guy, right? But I understand if you're a Charger or Challenger fan, you probably want a new gas engine Charger and Challenger, right? So I get that. And Camaro, it went off to it went over I don't know, it went to heaven, I guess. But anyway, so it'll come back one day as something totally different. But I think manufacturers need a little bit more time. They need more certainty to be able to have a long-term strategy and a plan to do this. I don't know why it's the videos where manufacturers are stuck. Yeah, they're stuck. High interest rates. Consumers are stuck. High interest rates. The cost of labor, right? The newer labor contract. And for those of you who work in the automotive space, I know that leadership has probably done some stuff that maybe you don't like. But here's the deal: this administration, if they do what they say they're going to do, and being pro energy, you're going to have more work coming up because as interest rates drop, the inventory drops, and there's more prosperity across the board. More people are going to buy vehicles, and it takes more employees. Um, it takes more of you at the plant to build a gas powered vehicle than it does EV. I don't know what the actual number is. I don't know if anybody's been able to quantify that exactly yet. I'm sure manufacturers have the number, but do we know it? I don't know. But how many does it take to build say a Mach E versus a dark horse? And so when you add this up, every single gas engine vehicle, typically there's more involved. There's more manufacturing, more suppliers, there's more parts and pieces. There's more to installing it. Then on the repair side, the technicians, even though we're short technicians in the country, and we can talk about that later, um, and not mechanics, by the way, auto service technicians, give them the credit that they truly deserve. They are technicians. Um, that they have more to do, more to work on, and then with EV. So it is just better economically, and you can argue about environmental stuff all you want to. You can please. This is not about politics. This is not me pro one way or another. This is just telling you some facts, and I want you to be able to bookmark this video and let's look on it in 12 months, 24 months, and see if all of this speculation is right. Will the auto manufacturers have more certainty, have a better game plan, in turn, be able to cut their costs, drop their costs a little bit because they're not wasting so much switching up every 4 years? Seems that, the moving target. And then as interest rates drop, because inflation drops, and that'll the main thing that's going to happen with that is becoming energy, and that's just going to drop the bottom out of a lot of costs on a lot of things, whether you make donuts, cars, houses, or whatever. Energy costs have driven every single thing up. As that drops, well, guess what? The cost of everything should drop, interest rates should drop, and we should be back to a point to where you're making more money and you can buy that SUV that you really want that shouldn't cost 80, but maybe it does, or maybe it'll cost 75. It's not going back to 40, but hopefully it won't be over 100,000 like some vehicles are. It's crazy. I want a Bronco Raptor until you see the price, and it's like, no, I don't want to pay 100 grand for it, or even 80 grand for it. Even if you get one, I'd get one used a couple years old. But then I look back and say, well, I want another Range Rover. And so that's the next new vehicle we buy. We're going to buy a new Range Rover. And so that is way expensive. And I don't want to own it out of the warranty. I get it. I get it. But my wife loves the Range Rover. And let me know what you think in the comments below. Remember, this is not political. Okay. This is just where we are at a point in time. And so I'd love to know your opinion. Let me know in the comments below. If you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel. Hit the bell icon so you can see all the new content coming out. Gavin and I will be doing a lot of new content over the winter. I'll explain where I've been in another video, but this one's already running too long. But like I said, like the video if you would, please subscribe to our channel and hit that bell icon. And I want to know in the comments below, please let me know if you think this is good, you think it's bad, do you think it doesn't matter? Whether your candidate won or your candidate lost, I don't really care. I just want to know, what do you think about this newfound optimism that has happened with a lot of people in just a week? I'd love to know. Thanks for watching.